In the early 1900s, Lafayette, Louisiana, like much of the American South, was a place drowning in its own sins. The Civil War had left scars, Reconstruction had failed, and black families like the Barnabets were left to build their own lives in towns that gave them nothing but backbreaking labor, poverty, and systematic neglect. The Barnabets lived in a rundown shack in a poor black neighborhood. At the center of the household was Raymond Barnabet, a man feared, not respected, a known drunkard, a convicted abuser, and a menace to his wife and children. The home was a furnace of rage and secrecy. His daughter Clementine was 19 years old. She had no husband, no children, an unusual thing for a black woman of that time. She had been arrested multiple times for prostitution and loitering. She never kept a job, often described by locals as idle, untrustworthy, even worthless. But she was more than troubled. She was something darker beneath the surface. Clementine's two brothers were just as unstable and violent. Tati, in particular, was known for his temper. Together, they would go on to commit a murder of their own. This wasn't just a broken family. This was something more dangerous. Raymond Barnabet was not just an abusive man. He was a man intoxicated with power. That power came from two things: the bottle and the Bible. He believed blood was sacred, that God of the Exodus and Revelation demanded sacrifice, that protection, redemption, even wealth could be bought with blood. He wasn't a preacher, but he preached to his children, to the women he controlled, and anyone who'd listen. He taught that the black race could only be lifted by divine favor, and divine favor required offering, lambs if possible, but if not, people would do. Hey everyone, welcome back to Papa Seer's YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you always know whenever I post a new video. I'll give you a moment right now to go ahead and hit like and also subscribe. It wasn't long before the madness became gospel. Clementine internalized every word, whether from fear or belief. She accepted her father's twisted theology, but where Raymond barked doctrine, she began acting it out. According to her later confession, she and 4 others, a group of 5, including 2 unnamed women and 2 unnamed men, began planning a series of sacrificial murders. They took a vow. They believed that these acts would shield them from punishment and elevate them spiritually, even financially. And that's when they decided to visit the Hoodoo doctor. Roughly 20 miles from Lafayette, in the town of New Iberia, lived a man named Joseph, also known as Doc. He was no preacher, but he had more followers than most. A light-skinned, sharply dressed mulatto man with a reputation for quiet power. Farmer by trade, Hoodoo doctor by spirit. Joseph wasn't a con man. He'd been practicing for years. His clientele ranged from grieving mothers to desperate men, black and white alike. He was known for his conjure bags, They were basic, red flannel tied with thread, sometimes containing herbs, bones, or cross needles, each bag tailored for the customer's request. And that's exactly what Clementine and her group came for. They paid Joseph $2 each for conjure bags designed specifically to protect them from the law or any bad deeds that had been done. Joseph didn't ask questions. He simply did what was asked of him. It started with the Andrus family in Lafayette. They were found in their home, hacked to death with an axe. The parents, the children, even the infant. The scene was so brutal, the sheriff at the time said it was like a butcher's stall. No valuables were taken, nothing stolen, no sign of struggle, just blood. So much blood is soaked through the floorboards. Then came the Byers family, then the Randalls. Each time, the method was the same. Whole families slaughtered at night while they slept. Infant skulls crushed. Mothers found clutching their children. The only common denominator was a complete lack of mercy. The police were desperate. Local newspapers called it a work of a cult. The press whispered about voodoo, black magic, and secret black societies out to cleanse sin through blood. The stories reached into white paranoia, and hoodooism became the scapegoat. Clementine was eventually arrested, but not for murder at first. It was a charge of vagrancy, loitering. The police had their eye on her family, and when the murders wouldn't stop, their suspicions grew. They brought in her father, Raymond. By then, the town already knew his reputation: violent, drunk, known to scream scripture and twist the gospel into something apocalyptic. And when it came for Clementine to testify, she sat in that courtroom, stoic, cold, and turned on her father. Clementine claimed he was the killer, said she and her brother had known and had also seen him do it. Her testimony helped convict Raymond, but the killings didn't stop. That's when everything unraveled. Police turned to Clementine's home. Her clothes were examined. What they found was damning. Blood, yes, but also brain matter. Human. The science was crude, but the conclusion was clear. Clementine Barnabet had been present at the scene of unspeakable violence. They pressed her harder, and then she confessed. But not in the way anyone expected. She didn't say it was robbery. She didn't say it was revenge. She said it was pleasure. She described how, during certain times of the month, she was overtaken with an uncontrollable desire, a desire to hold someone, to feel them, to embrace a body after the killing. She said she would kill the baby, then cradle it at her breast, as if it were alive. Norbert Randall, she admitted, had been her lover. When he neglected her for his wife, she murdered his entire family, including the wife, the children, before turning the pistol on Raymond. After weeks in custody and multiple confessions, each more disturbing than the last, Clementine began to name names, but one name changed everything. Joseph, also known as Doc. She told the police that before the killings began, she and 4 others traveled over 20 miles from Lafayette to New Iberia. Their mission to seek out a hoodoo doctor, a man known for powerful conjure work, a man, she said, to have the kind of magic that could make you invincible to the law. They located Joseph in New Iberia, standing outside a cigar shop. He was calm when Clementine arrived. She pointed him out, and he stood like a statue. No evidence was ever found to tie Joseph to the murders. No blood, no connection to the victims, no testimonies but Clementine's. No other witness ever said they saw him in Lafayette. Still, they arrested him, held him, and questioned him, but nothing ever came. He was never convicted and never charged. He walked free. And maybe, just maybe, his conjure bags worked after all, because 5 of the people who made that trip to New Iberia, only one of them ever saw the inside of a prison. By April of 1912, Clementine Barnabet had been linked to the murders of 17 people. She admitted to killing 4 families, among them children, infants, parents. No one was spared. In her own words, she said she was possessed by urges. When asked if she had remorse, she simply shrugged. No sign of regret. Just a 19-year-old girl telling the world she had made a blood oath with her own demons. Still, the courts were confused. Her story changed often. Psychiatrists and officials debated her mental state. Some claimed she was insane. Others said she was the embodiment of evil. Declared sane to stand trial, she was convicted only of the Randall murders. Her sentence, life in Angola prison. However, the darkness didn't leave with her. 1 week after her brother's release, they both stabbed a man to death in broad daylight, shouting, "We have work to do." The Barnabette name became a sting, a warning. A family cursed not by spirits, but by their own twisted doctrine of blood, betrayal, and brokenness.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, then give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends in respective communities. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so let's get the conversation started in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Papa Seer for more intriguing stories from Hoodoo history, and I'll see you in the next video.